We are back with another Tactics Marketing episode. My name is Chris Milton. Let's get into today's question because I get asked this so much, and I'm sure you're seeing this as a huge headline in your space as well, and that is AI. The growth of AI has really changed the way that a lot of companies work and function, and in some cases, lose. And so today's question is, do you feel that AI is going to kill marketing agencies? And the answer for that is no. I think it's going to kill the bad ones. I think it's going to replace a lot of freelancers that were doing, poor work. But in reality, it's an opportunity to layer things on top. And I wanted to talk today about that change is fully leveraging AI versus leveraging AI as part of a process. And I think that's the difference. So in our world, I'm going to rewind a little bit, maybe 10 years or so, and talk about SEO and blogging. And I've used this example quite a bit talking to clients because it's the most relatable part of understanding what your website can do or not do, and why a Google update may really hurt your overall ranking results. It also is kind of why you want to choose someone that is a really reputable company to work with when you're trying to find someone for your SEO and for your content. Now, of course, this doesn't cover everything with AI, but I think it's a pretty good example. So when Google started looking at how to rank websites from day one, it really came down to two things. It came down to authority and it came down to relevance. Relevance is obviously very simple. How well associated are you with the search term that is being looked up? Are you the best fit? And think of it like a matchmaker. Is the phrase the same? Is it more content on the website that relates to that phrase? Does it seem like this is close to the person in terms of geography, if that matters? All of these different things that are like a matchmaker. Then on the flip side, there's the authority, which is, are other companies, people trusting this website? And should we rank them higher than their competitor because people are spending more time on their website? People are going through their website more. They're converting and asking for information. They're turning into a customer instead of just being a prospect and browsing. Is this company being referenced by different media outlets? So there's a PR component to it there. And that's where backlinks come in. Where are those backlinks coming from? How many are there? That's a quantity and quality portion. And so to get past this in the very beginning, a lot of shortcuts for SEO were about keyword stuffing. And so if I were to look at how we could build the keyword stuffing for our own website, it would be, 323 Media is good at content marketing because content marketing is a really great tool for you. You need content marketing from 323 Media. Nobody wants to read that, but it checked off the box in the early days for the number of keywords that would relate to what people are looking for. And so it certainly isn't friendly. It isn't very nice. The technical side of the user experience is what really was the next revolution, with more smartphones being used for browsing. And that meant that the user experience suddenly added to the authority and the credibility and the relevance of the search terms and ranking. And so if you were to force someone to try to look at a website where on your phone, all of the text was so tiny you could barely read it without pinching and zooming, you're not going to want to stay on that website for very long because it's really frustrating. And so mobile friendly suddenly became an option if you were looking at that. Then voice search. And so voice search was a big change in terms of how text was written because there needed to be more of native language that's on any of the websites. And so this is where you suddenly started to have this divide between being fluent in a language, being a native speaker, and being proficient in a language. So with English, this is a really interesting case because you have, between the UK, the US, and Canada, you've got different words and phrases that have different spellings of things, like flavor, for example. The OU is added for Canadian. That's not something that appears in the US. And so immediately you can kind of see where the websites are located. More importantly, when you look at regional trends, there's things that change based on vernacular and how people speak and what items have different names. We had a campaign that was running where throughout the US, selling a couch, the keyword that would convert in different states was either couch, sofa, or Chesterfield, because the vernacular in those areas really changed depending on what somebody was using day to day. And so if someone were to, say into their phone, "Hey Google, find me a couch," if you're only bidding on the keyword that says sofa, it's probably not going to appear. And so that changed the way that relevance worked. But it also changed the way that quality of writing worked. Oh, hang on. Now Google's telling me that I'm finding a couch. Hang on. So Gemini is telling me that I should go to IKEA to find my couch. I wasn't trying to trigger that. There's actually a funny Burger King ad about that, that they were actually trying to hack all of people's Alexas that were in their houses with an ad that they were running because you could order Burger King directly. I'm sure we'll get into that. I have a couple of ideas for when you guys start asking about my personal favorite advertising campaigns over the years. That is definitely one of them because I love the genius behind that quick hack and trying to game the system a little bit. However, beyond that little interruption there, I love that our technology works, by the way. We're at a point now with AI where somebody publishing something from AI directly to their website without any sort of in between is really troubling. And the reason that it's troubling is because there's certain structures, there's always people who are trying to rank for things, but they're not trying to give a good experience. And it always seems like there's some people who are one or two steps ahead of Google and they're getting higher rankings than they should. And right now, there's a lot of tools that are kind of creating a formula to how to rank better on Google. But when you read the articles, it's just like that keyword stuffing example that I gave. You see the same phrases being repeated. You start to see the way that articles are structured. You have to scroll halfway through an article before you actually understand that the title isn't clickbait because they're trying to warm you up and get you to scroll down for your engagement and your time on page to be higher. And that's where I think there's a big opportunity to look at how you, as a marketer, as a business owner, as an agency, I know those are our three key areas for our audience, can be the concierge. And if you were to be the concierge in the hotel, you're able to add in so much more to the conversation that happens with someone who's asking a question and being able to say things that you aren't able to find searching anywhere else. And so the reason I like the concierge example is because when you ask someone for a restaurant recommendation, they're not fighting for your business yet. And that idea, even if it's for your own business where you are trying to sell a product or a service, you're getting in the shoes of the customer. That level of empathy is so important to be able to understand what they're going through, understanding the struggles that they're having and how you're solving them. So that when you're writing content, when you're doing a podcast, when you're doing a video, when you're creating a social media post, you're really connecting with that person because you understand where they're at. And I think that's what's missing with the AI part of it. Even if you were to put in your whole archetype of who your ideal customer is, there's still going to be a level of impersonal text. And that's what it feels like when you just dump in an AI written blog post onto a website, for example. So if I were to be a content only agency, I know that AI isn't going to replace me. However, there's a lot of things that I can utilize AI for to make myself better and more efficient and have our processes with our team work even better. The biggest place that I find us doing this is to generate ideas, to improve how quickly we can get through competitor research. The other place that we use AI for is testing different things. And so looking at, okay, how would we rewrite this 5 or 7 different times? And so it puts us in a position where we can actually find different ways to leverage AI to make our process better and smoother. And where there's an opportunity for us to take the manual human time that's required for a task and have that in a higher zone of genius. I would love to have our whole team focused on more strategic things and have them focused on more um, more of the special details and the key aspects. Having somebody that does a transcription service is great and it's a really cool service, but when there's an AI that we can have do that in 20 minutes for a half hour video that isn't perfect, but it is 80% there, that gives us a huge head start. As we're going through editing and creating different content and repurposing content, that's where I think there is the right opportunity. And so when we look at the difference makers and who's going to win and who's going to lose when it comes to AI, that's where I believe the opportunity is. Who is going to be the one that is leveraging versus relying on or replaced with AI? And finding those places, finding those tools, or building those tools yourself where you can create a process that is improved, that gives you a huge a competitive advantage, especially in a market like we have right now, where in a lot of industries, hiring can be really challenging. So I find this is probably the best answer is no. The good agencies, the good anything are not going to be replaced by AI, but they're going to fuel them to be better. In the same way that it was amazing how much photography changed when everyone suddenly had amazing cameras on their phones, but you know what also happened? There was a lot more people that found out they wanted a camera. And the DSLR market like went through the roof, and that's still growing. And I think that's going to be kind of the same thing with a lot of it. Sure, I think we're going to get more people that are on the lower side of any sort of output that are just 100% utilizing or being replaced with AI with their processes, but it's going to unlock this new advancement because a lot of the time consuming tasks are being replaced or improved because of utilizing AI. So I hope that answers the question for today. I would be happy to give some recommendations in terms of what we use. Check the show notes below for some ideas of our process. That might even be a good tool for us to create, is just showing you how we do our process with our content waterfall and repurposing, so you can get more expansion of reach with one piece of content on every platform. So I will put that in the notes of something to look forward to and something to check out. For more information, check out tacticsandmarketing.com and sign up for the newsletter there. We send out more tactics, more tips, more examples of how you can improve your marketing, crush your competition, and grow your organization. All right, until next time, see ya.